All right. What is happening? How are you doing? You're smiling, which is a good sign. Always, it's a pretty good sign.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm excited. Yeah, it was kind of anticlimactic because at the end I didn't get a results screen. I just got the congratulations letter, and I was hoping I was gonna like be able to know how I did.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
no, I
yeah.
feel good.
You should feel good. I mean, like, how long ago was it when we met? I can't even remember. It was like,
Not that long.
like a week and a half ago or something
Yeah,
like
like a week and a half or so.
no doubt, no doubt. So you will get that congratulations letter from them, like the detailed pretty soon. But you did a great job. You passed. So like, talk me through kind of like, what it was like, what the exam was like, how you did, all that other stuff a little bit.
So I definitely went a lot slower than I had been practicing
Yeah.
throughout the test. So I actually found that like I was really running out of time and like kind of panicked throughout the first portion of it. Like
Yeah.
I saw a couple critical path questions on there that I was like, I need time to solve these. And I don't know, I was getting in my head a lot there.
Yeah.
But I caught up, eventually sorted out the 89 questions. I tried to force myself to do it like in an with 133 minutes left, I think was the golden number that I had
Nice.
read a bunch of times. So I like just rushed and rushed. But then the second half, I just felt like way more calm, and I felt like I knew kind of what pace to go at. I felt like I wasn't racing against the clock, and I could really spend time on stuff. And yeah, no, I felt a lot more confident during the second portion.
That's cool. All right, that's good. I mean, it's good that you manage yourself because, like, you get a little like people get like a little amped up and get going at the beginning, especially if you get a tough slug of questions, and then you just kind of pull yourself back and then go forward. So we already
Yeah,
knew
I
you were
had to
gonna.
really play that mental game there during the second half. I was like, oh, I got a whole new test here in the second half. So let me get refocused again and get back in there. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, going like reviewing back through like the 7 days. I mean, like we met early. You said like, "Hey, I'm about 7, 10 days out. What can we do?" And then we talked it through. Kind of talk me through how you went through the 7 days and how you like, like what were you feeling beforehand? Like, do you think 100% you would have passed beforehand if we just never did the 7 day thing, or what do you think?
no, definitely not. I felt like your program already had it, so I'd started already going through like the first couple sections. I went through initiating and some of planning, and then I realized like there's a lot of material here, and I'm not like super motivated to do this like in a sped up fashion. And I was just seeing like folks who had done it in 7 and 10 days, and I was like, I could probably do that too. I have time with my work schedule. Let me see if I can try and push and do this. And also during that time I was being considered for a job. So I was really like motivated. So
Yeah.
um yeah, no, so going through it, I definitely feel like I had already seen some of the deep dive videos. So I
Yeah.
felt like I was just for like personally to like be able to focus for 7 full days. I definitely did the baseline lessons. I focused on getting those done
Yeah. The breakthrough stuff.
first,
Yeah.
and then kind of here and there, like based on my test results, like went back to the deep dive videos that I felt like I needed. So
Hmm.
I felt like I was able to really efficiently use my time.
Yeah. That's
Um,
cool. Keep
and
going.
I did a ton of practice questions, like
Yeah.
obviously with you and others on the phone. I think that was really what like made me feel like I could take the test.
Oh, cool.
I just hadn't been looking at questions before, like I did the 7 day program. I didn't go through it because I was anxious, or I didn't feel like I knew how to answer the questions, or I felt like there was some secret. But really,
Yeah.
it was just going through questions and like getting
I love
positive feedback, negative feedback, etc. Feedback helped me.
Hold on, I lost you. Go ahead again. You felt like there was a secret?
Yeah. I felt like I needed to just get questions under my belt. Like that really was what built my confidence for sure.
That's cool. And so I think that's like what we've learned a ton is so many times in previous programs, the way we've done stuff is we've been giving some questions during it, but the big
Mhm,
focus has been like after. And like a lot of
mhm.
people that come to us, they say, hey, I've taken a 12-week class or 15. Like I talked to somebody this morning. I was like, what are you doing for 15 weeks? But then they started taking some. And I think there's like you mentioned that there was like you were a little scared. I don't know, you didn't use those words a couple seconds ago, but were you apprehensive, or what were you scared about in jumping into the questions? What did you have to overcome initially?
I took a few practice tests initially and like really didn't get good scores. And so
Hmm.
I was just kind of afraid to go back. I kept thinking to myself, okay, I don't know the material enough. I don't want to waste my time on test questions and then not be able to go through when I feel like I'm ready. Or I don't know, I was strategizing, learning the material or whatever over actually practicing the questions. But when joining the program, I just felt like that was challenged, and I feel like it's the better way to approach it. You know, you got to know what you're studying for in order to like properly study for it.
Seems logical. Seems logical. Pretty logical. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Like going through the questions, like there really are patterns. Like you start to learn the patterns, and then that's helpful in focusing, studying, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and then like we did a lot. Like you and I jumped on a couple calls together. Like even initially, just because I wanted to know before we did the 7-day thing. Like if I felt like you had it in you in a positive way, like you could do it, and it was very clear. Like first couple questions, I'm like, all right, she's gonna do great. She's gonna pick it up. She's gonna be confident enough to do this. But then like going through, who was your coach?
Rachel.
Rachel. She's killing it. So she's doing really well. And so going through the questions live together, how did that help you guys? Like in those small group things, how did that help you?
Yeah, it was good to hear other people's logic when going through questions. Like it was good to answer them too while they were thinking through, like just so that I could lock in something and then listen to them kind of walk through it. And oftentimes I felt like near the end, like our logic kind of was in sync on Thursday mornings with the 3 or 4 people that I met with. And it felt good to kind of get that, again, reinforcement on how I was answering questions.
Yeah. And Rachel and I are different people. So like I'm more, I don't know if you'd agree, I'm more excitable than she is, like mildly. And so I think it's good to like have that other perspective where she's like, she's calm. She's so supportive. I mean, I'm supportive, but like, she's like, so like, it's like easy, and she like supports you the whole time. I don't know if you felt that like in the way in which, mix it up kind of nature. So, so that's cool. So really, really proud of you for like 7-ish, 10-ish days or whatever we got through it. What are some of like the rocks that you had to go over like during it? Were there any points where you were like started to doubt yourself, or you just got busy, or anything? Does anything that kind of during the 7 days, it's not a lot of time, but anything that held you back that you had to overcome?
No, not that I can think of. I did have to rewatch a couple things just because there's a lot of content, like specifically the base lessons for the first 2 days. I mean, that's going through all of the content. Yeah. So it was kind of a lot. So I felt like I spent a lot of time on day 1 and day 2 to try and just gather where we were going and how it was being organized. Yeah. But, beyond that, like I didn't have very much trouble, like retaining the information after that. I really felt like I was following along. And then the nice one that really tied it together for me that I actually ended up watching like right before I took my exam was 7 Flows. Yeah. Because I felt like I started to kind of memorize that video a little bit and just like kind of what you were saying. And it honestly does help to like conceptualize all of the topics that you really need to take the exam. So
there you go. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. I'm glad you like that. I mean, do you think I should move it up? I have it like on day 5.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think that seeing it earlier would have helped me to, feel like when you see something more than once, like obviously you start to retain it. So I wish I would have seen that a little earlier, because I think I would have started to kind of retain and all of the more deep information surrounding like certain analyses or certain tools and techniques for, some of the other videos.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it again on day 2, and I'm going to say, hey, you don't have to master this thing, but like we're going to add it in day 2 or so. Yeah. To say, hey, I'm going to show you all the pictures. You just follow it through. We're going to rewatch it on day 5 because it's not that long, and it's just going to like, you're going to get different things from it. So day 2, you're probably going to get like awareness. Oh, wow, that's cool. That's how it looks. And all it flows together. Then on day 5, you're just going to be like, yep, now I see that. And it totally sticks together. And so done. It'll be up there in a little bit of ways. So awesome. Cool. I'm a little sad. I mean, like it's good that you passed and all that stuff. It was very nerve-wracking because you went the weekend and didn't tell us. And so that was like painful because I was like, oh shit, like what happened? But I had no doubt that you were going to do well. Cool. So you really like the flow stuff. You really like the sessions with her or with Rachel. And then, you were there on the evenings with me on the Wednesdays. That's cool. Yeah, like when you work in consulting, if it's okay to say, right? Like, how do you think this stuff is going to help you in your job? Is it more of like a, prestige thing where you need for job moving up, or how you work, little gigs, or how's the PMP going to help you personally?
I think it's going to help me to move around in my career, probably. I've been kind of focused on one industry within consulting, and I'm really interested in kind of moving around. And I think project management is a skill that transfers to all industries, all over. So I do feel like it's kind of getting my foot in the door in other areas that I'm interested in pursuing.
That's cool.
And yeah, I think Rachel said this during her video, but she said, I'm quite young and like I'm pretty timid. So I feel similarly in a consulting world, you really have to kind of work extra hard to kind of get yourself noticed to move up. So I think this is going to help with that.
That's good. Well, they're very lucky to have you, and you're going to do exceptionally well, like just like you did on this exam. So cool. Like if there's other people out there that that see themselves in you a little bit, that say like, wow, she did so good, Lindsay did good, like I could do that. Like they're out there and they've maybe studied for a while, or they're on the fence, or they're feeling apprehensive or something like that. What would be your kind of message to them to get them to do whatever you want them to do? Like, what would you say to those people? Not to throw you in.
Yeah, no, I think sometimes like I was finding myself really feeling like it was going to be way too hard. I really needed conditions to be like a certain way before I could pursue this. And in all honesty, like it really, once I wrapped my head around the methodologies, like it really wasn't that tough to kind of retain the information. And I feel like, once you put your foot in the door, once you commit, you can really get there with this. Like you absolutely can do it. Like as long as you just buckle down, like you can definitely get through it. It's going to be valuable in the end. And like, it doesn't take 7 weeks to learn all this material with your program. Like you really can do it in a short window of time.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so like what part about, like, as we go into it, it's always good to kind of like talk back to the learner, because like everything that I design is for like a purpose. Like I'm making gambles to say like I think this is going to be effective for the learner. Was there part of it like, because as you described through like what you did, what was your day-to-day, like how did you go about using the system? Were you do it in the morning, at lunch, at night? Like how did you, because you had interactions with me and Rachel, like in the evenings and different in the mornings for her. Like how did you do the rest of it? So that, because you led the path, you pushed through the system on your own, which we're proud of.
Yeah, no, I think
how did you do that?
The videos and the meetings and stuff were really helpful in accountability. Like I knew I was going to have to meet with you on like Monday morning, or I was going to have to meet with Rachel and the team on Thursday, and I wanted to be at a certain place. So it did help me to like motivate me and keep me accountable. And I think that's just kind of how my brain works anyway. Yeah. So that definitely did help. And then having others on the line too helps to that accountability check. So yeah, I really appreciated that. But generally speaking, I think, I would do a little bit here and there when I had time. That's the best way that I could have pushed through it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So what's next for you? Like you've done this, you take a couple of days off, weeks off, whatever, you go back to work. Like, is there a next thing that you're working toward in bettering yourself or doing? Like, what's next for you personally?
I've kind of kicked around the idea of getting some sort of certification in environmental design, like LEED accreditation, and moving towards that area.
Okay.
I find it to be really interesting, and I think the whole process of getting certified, like online, is so awesome. Like, like in the current state of the world, like to be able to do it remotely is so great. So I'm just trying to capitalize on this time and like. Really build on my interests and look into these certifications more. I mean, they are, I think, really valuable. So
that's awesome. What is environmental design? It sounds interesting to me. But go ahead and tell me.
Yeah, so like I'd really like to get into real estate investing here, but I also want to be really green about the way that I do that with my income properties. So that's what I want to learn more about.
That's pretty sweet.
To do
so
that.
I'm excited about that too. So we could talk to after the call or something like that. We could talk about it.
For sure.
That is cool. Well, we're really, really proud of you. You did so amazing, like in a short amount of time. And I was glad that we were able to help you out and kind of guide you through. We had no doubt in any of the days that you were going to do so exceptionally well. And I'm excited to see the results, the final results. So yeah, we're really, really proud of you. So great job.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. I really couldn't have done it without you.
Right on. Thanks a lot. See ya.
All right. Bye.